Hey everyone, it's Brandon with Electriq Marketing, and today I'm going to be showing you through the entire Shopify dashboard, all of the items in the left-hand menu navigation here, and why you'll need to be able to utilize each one or how you'll be able to utilize them. So to start, we'll start with home. This is where you're going to see just a high-level overview of your store and everything that's going on for that particular day. So you can see total sales, total sessions, and then you can also come over here and change like which channel you want to look at. So whether it's through the Facebook, whether it's through TikTok, or you want to look at all channels, and you can change the date range as well. It'll also give you some top products, total sales breakdown, total sales by channels, and that's really it. There's not a whole lot going on the homepage. There's a bunch of other like sort of brief overviews here that are just pulling in reports from other sections, but it's not very relevant in terms of being able to deeply dive into any of these particular metrics. Now, if you head over to the Analytics tab, and we're going to jump around a little bit here because the Home and the Analytics tab are the most closely tied. This is where you can start to break down your analytics and change the date range and do comparisons as well. So let's say I want to look at year to date, and we're going to compare it to the previous period. You can see total sales, and obviously they're a little bit down, comparing them to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And you can also take a look at your online store sessions, returning customer rate, and there's a whole bunch of other information that Shopify will drop down here in your dashboard. Now, each one of these are actually reports, so if you want to dig deeper into any of them, just click on View Report, and that'll take you into the reporting section that you have over here. And this is where you can dive more deeply into any of those, but there's also a host of other out-of-the-box reports that Shopify creates for you that you can dive into. So let's say you want to look at sales by product variant SKU, for example. We can pull this up. We can say we want to see what's been the most popular this year. I'm going to apply, and we'll see it is the special limited reserve blend that has a quantity of about 1,400. How many sales, discounts, returns, net sales, and we can view product performance this way. I'm not going to dive into each one here, but it'll go through sales, acquisition, your profit margin, user behavior on site, customer behavior. You can even pull some finance reporting, inventory, and this is where you'll get all of your centralized Shopify reports. Now, the live view, this is not something that we will utilize frequently, but it is just cool to take a look at and see who is currently interacting with the site, where are they located, and getting an understanding of, just at a high level, a different visualization of the same data that we were just referencing. Now, let's hop back up into orders here. So orders is going to have every order, including the customer information, what was ordered, and also what sort of Shopify tags were associated with that order. So you can see here, this was an OTP and a subscription first order, what was ordered, and then at some point, once the tracking information gets added by the 3PL, you'll be able to view that information in here as well. You can also leave comments. So if you're coming in here and I want to say, I refunded this because it was an error. I can comment that. I can add other people on the team that are in the Shopify account. So there is a little bit of a customer service aspect to it. You're going to see a refund, edit order, and more actions in the top right corner here. You'll notice there's a couple of random apps here. So some of the apps that we work with have plugins for the order page. So if I want to export this order with Easy Exporter, I would come here and do that as well. And this is also where you'll see your customer notes, but I'm not going to dig too deeply into this other than this is where all your orders come, and you can create filters as well. So as you get deeper into Shopify tags, which basically allows you to identify certain orders based on attributes of that customer. So like I know these are all subscription first orders right here. I could come in here and say, I want to only see orders that are tagged with subscription first order. Now that'll go ahead and filter for all of those. And then what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to save this as a view, so it'll save up there. So I'm going to say first time subscription orders. I'm going to save that view. So now If I ever go up here and click on first time subscription orders, it'll automatically filter for that criteria. And if you want, you can adjust the columns as well and the sorts, but this is essentially your order dashboard. Drafts is typically if you're placing custom orders for a particular customer, or if there's like some sort of a corporate order that comes in. These typically are not utilized a lot by our merchants, just because they're primarily direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands and not necessarily doing a whole lot of B2B transactions. And if they are, there's a wholesale sales channel that they'll use and will not create like open invoices that will be sent out. Here's where you'll see your abandoned checkouts. We don't use this at all actually because of the fact that we use Klaviyo for all of our email marketing efforts. So all abandoned checkouts are going to be sent via Klaviyo, which is why you see not sent next to every single abandoned checkout here. If you don't use Klaviyo or MailChimp or an OmniSend or something like that, then that's when you could potentially utilize Shopify's native abandoned checkout functionality, which is this. So you'd see whether it was sent and whether or not it was recovered. So definitely a great thing to start with, but ultimately you're going to want to get set up with an email marketing tool. Next, we'll dig into products. So I'm not going to cover when you're using a separate system to manage your inventory. That is a little bit more advanced and doesn't necessarily impact anybody that's using the native Shopify functionality here. So this particular store is not using an ERP like NetSuite. They manage their inventory within Shopify. So all of your products are going to be within here. You have what's called active status as well as draft. And so if I were to click on this, you'll see I can change the product status to draft if I wanted to, which would remove it from the store but not delete it entirely. And this is where you can see the type as well. So Amora Anniversary Bundle, this is bundling type, which relates to a collection on site. So that's where the products start to get important, are these types and different tags that you can add to them so that your collections on the website will mirror what you're seeing in the back end. And there's no disconnect between, oh, you need to add a product to the Shopify backend, and then you need a developer to add it to the store. That's not how it works. With your theme, you just add a product and it'll automatically show up in the different collections and on site wherever you deem necessary. So in terms of the actual product itself, you can see the sales channels and apps on the right-hand side here. This is where you can manage anywhere you want to sell the product. So this particular one is not available on the mobile app, for example, but it is on TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook, the buy button, and the online store. And you can see all these sales channels here. If there's any sales channels you want to add, you just click the plus button, and there's a whole host of other sales channels that you can add your products to. I strongly recommend checking these out and potentially looking at alternative distribution channels for your product. This is the most important, the product organization. So this is where you can choose type. We've selected tea and infusions. This is where you can put a custom type, which we put as bundle. Now the vendor, and then collections as well. So, and then also tags. So we tag this product as tea, specialty tea, herbal tea, green tea. And the reason why we do that, and I'm going to jump around a bit here, is if I go into collections and I want to look at the tea, the herbal tea collection, you're going to notice these are automatically created collections. Essentially what it's just looking for is, hey, if there's a product that has a tag equal to herbal tea, include it in this collection automatically. So this takes out all the manual work that historically has been required to manage online merchandising for a website. So by setting product rules through the tags, or by setting tags on the products, you're able to have collections that will just automatically pull that tag or type or whatever it may be so that you don't have to manually manage your collection pages, which is really powerful. So you can see here all the different tags. And then as you notice here, it says auto collection. So tea, herbal tea, all in bundles and kits. This product was added to it because it met the criteria for each of these collections that we've set up. Now, this is also where you'll add your options. So for this particular product, we have a choose your bundle type. So you can either choose one with herbal teas and a squeezer or just the herbal teas. Now, let's go to a different product that has a little bit more variation. So here we'll see you can choose between regular or decaf and whole bean or ground. And then each of the variants will show up below here. So regular ground, regular whole bean, each one will have their own SKU, and you can also edit each one individually. So you put the tax code, the cost per item, what's the SKU, you can track quantity, what is the warehouse that it's shipping from, how much does it weigh, what's the country of origin. All of that can be managed at a variant level. Now, what do I mean by variants? So you have a top level SKU product, which is the Delicata coffee blend in this case. These three are variants of this particular product. The product ID, which you'll hear referenced a lot and is useful in integrations, is this right here in the URL, this 474-685-109-0512. This is used in a lot of integrations like Klaviyo. If you ever want to pass a product through via URL, this is Shopify's unique identifier for this top level product. Now, each one of these variants, though, is going to have a variant ID. So this variant, the 327, a lot of times when you're working with Klaviyo or another integration, this is what the system is looking for, the variant ID. And interestingly enough, if you have a SKU that doesn't have any variants, so for example, nope, that one has a variant. Let's find one that doesn't have a variant. Like the 12-cup Brentwood coffee maker. This doesn't have a variant. You can see there's no options down here. But each product technically has a variant ID. And that's usually what the system is going to be asking for. So there's a lot of ways that you can do this. I typically will just put in view source, which you just 2 fingers, click, and then view page source. And this has to be done in Chrome, and then I just Command F for variant, and you'll find the URL structure here. So this 332175, this is the variant ID for this product, even though it technically doesn't have any options. So that's just one important thing to note. And last but not least, this is where you'll do your search engine listing preview, and you can edit the website SEO. This is what will show up if I were to look up, let me say, native deodorant. This is right here, the meta title and the meta description. So coming back over to here, meta title, meta description. You can also change the URL handle if you want. Typically, I just have this match whatever the page title is going to be. And again, tags. These are your friends. Use tags and be specific with them, but make sure that your collections, for the most part, are not manual, that they're automated based off of looking at what a product is tagged with. So in this case, coffee and accessories. That's everything as it relates to the product functionality. You can look at different vendors, you can filter by tagged with, status, and there's a bunch of other filters that you can do, but for the most part, this is where your inventory will live. There's another inventory tab here underneath products. There's really, I don't find a whole lot of use with this, as you can view available inventory within the products, but if you want a high level look at like what's available, what isn't, this is somewhere you could come in and look. There's also this transfers tab where you can view and receive incoming inventory from your suppliers. So you could select an origin, select a destination. Typically, we don't use this functionality. Then again, this is your collection. So let's go through the act of creating a collection. I'm going to call this the test collection. And then you can put a description as well. This is typically what will show up at the top of the collection page, though it depends on how your developer has built your website or the theme that you're using. So let's call this test as well. You can choose whether the collection type is manual or automated. So for manual collections, you are literally just going to put piece by piece products into this collection. Now, automated is my preference and typically what I will use. So you can automate based on product title, type, vendor, tag, price, compare it price, weight, inventory, stock, or the variant title. Now, I typically use product tags, but you can also do product type as well. And you can select whether this product must match every condition you add here, or just one of them. So if I were to say product tag is equal to special kit ground and product type is equal to accessories and say all conditions must be met, that means only products that satisfy both of these requirements will show up. If I change it to any condition, it's going to add products that match all of them or match only one, which that is the biggest difference between matching any condition versus all conditions. You can also add a collection image on this side, and you can say whether or not this collection will be available on certain sales channels. And then same as the product page, you have your search engine listing preview at the bottom here. So the meta title and the meta description. Last but not least, under products is gift cards. More often than not, we are utilizing a third-party tool called Rise.ai, and there's a couple of other options as well, which I'll link below. But Shopify's native gift card functionality is not very robust. In fact, you're not actually able to send it to somebody. You are purchasing it yourself, and then it's on you to distribute it to that customer. Or sorry, not that customer, but to the end recipient. So it's not a very friendly user experience, which is typically why we use a third party for that. But this is where you'll see all of those gift cards generated. And so we use an app. So that's why you see all of these $10 ones that have been generated and are disabled. So now that we've covered home, orders, and products, let's jump into customers. So with customers, this is essentially your CRM, your database of everybody who's transacted with your site, as well as people that have created an account and not purchased. And so here we can go ahead and filter just like we did in the orders interface, where I came in here and said, okay, I'm going to do first time subscription orders only, tagged with subscription first order. I can come into customers and do the same thing. So if I want to see everybody who has more than four orders, I go ahead and do that. And it's 2,641 customers have ordered at least 4 times. If I want to see anybody who has an active account, do the exact same thing. And this is, again, based off of the tag or the customer account status. And so let's say I want to create another one here. We're going to look for only people subscribed to email, tagged with, let's say, active subscriber. Oops. Tagged with active subscriber, customer account status is invited to create account, and let's say number of orders is more than 3. So that just brought us down quite a bit to 103 customers. So these are 103 customers who are subscribed to email marketing, are active subscription customers. They were invited to create an account on the website, but they have not, and they've placed more than 3 orders with us. Now, if I want to save this, I can do that again, and whatever I want to name it, and it'll save in the top. I'm not going to save this one, though. So you can do different customer cohorts like this in your Shopify dashboard, and you can export them if you'd like. Now, underneath finances, you'll see what is an overview tab. So this will give you your month-to-date finances. This is a net new store that we just set up that doesn't really have any traffic on it yet, so there's not a ton going on here. But this will give you just a high-level overview of your finances, and you can choose the date range. And again, the structure and sort of layout of each one of these tabs is pretty familiar, as you can see with the date picker, any of the filtering that you can do. So it's pretty consistent across the board. This is Shopify's new Shopify Balance account. Essentially what this allows you to do is it's kind of like a card for your business. So you see here, it's like a Visa credit card, and it allows you to basically separate your business from your personal expenses. And then there's some cashback rewards that you get as well. Next is billing. So billing is where merchants will select how they pay their Shopify bills. So usually it's via credit card. And then you can also see your subscriptions. So most stores will have a fair amount of Shopify apps. So if you click view all subscriptions here, that will show you all of your app subscriptions. You can also see your bills. So current billing cycle, what are your app fees, what are your recent bills? So for this one, we actually purchased a theme for this particular client, and then a statement of charges as well. And last but not least is the payouts tab. So this is where you'll see your payouts and by date. Now that we've covered finances, let's jump into marketing, as we've already gone over analytics. So marketing is essentially where you can create campaigns for particular apps. Now, to be honest, we don't ever use this tool at Electriq. We're building the campaigns within the platforms themselves. But if you want to get set up with like a simple Facebook ad, Pinterest ad, Snapchat ad, maybe you want to push out a Shopify email, do a social post, this is where you can do that. Now, we're not actually going to do this, but it's a pretty intuitive step-by-step process for doing any of this. Then there's campaigns. So you can create a campaign as well. This is the exact same thing that we just covered. And last but not least is automations. So you can create automations here. So if I wanted to say, okay, let's do a Google Shopping campaign or let's do an email, this is where you can start to get some marketing automations to show up from your apps. But again, we don't really use this tool, primarily focused on building the campaigns and the automations within the marketing tools themselves, because they always go deeper than what you're going to get via this interface. Next is discounts. So here we'll cover the discount functionality of Shopify. So if I want to create a discount code, I have 4 options. I can do percentage, I can do fixed amount, I can do free shipping, or I can do buy something, get something. We'll start off with percentage. This is the most straightforward. There's one nuance. We're going to have a bunch of merchants that are still on the classic recharge checkout. You're not going to see this one-time purchase, subscription, or both. In fact, you're actually going to have to create the discount code within Recharge, as well as Shopify, if you wanted to apply to both subscription and one-shot orders. The reason for that is pre-October, there were stores utilizing Recharge for subscriptions, and all of the checkouts went through a separate checkout portal, not the Shopify checkout portal. So that's why there's these 2 separate systems that hold discount codes. Future state, every net new store, and migrations are happening this year as well, that is on the unified checkout, every transaction will go through the Shopify checkout. So there's the old state, which is there's a Recharge checkout for subscription products, and then there's a Shopify checkout for one-shot products. There's the current state, which is unified checkout. A lot of merchants are still on this split checkout, so you'll have to create discount codes in Shopify as well as Recharge, but any net new merchant is going to be on this unified experience. Now that we've covered that, let's dive into the actual functionality. So percentage, 20% off. Say we want to apply to both types of products. Then we can choose what does this discount code apply to. So maybe it's just a standard welcome offer. We'll do all products. Or we want to do it to a specific collection. So here we can say, okay, it's only for the sachets. Or we can do specific products. So we only want it available for this particular SKU. We can set minimum requirements as well. So 20% off is only going to work if you spend at least $25. Or the 25% off is only going to work if you add 100 items to your order. That obviously is an extreme example, and I would not recommend it. You can even make it for specific customers. So let's say I want to only use customers who are returning. I can add that. But where this gets really cool is if you remember the tags I was creating in the saved views for our customers in the Shopify Plus store, then you'll remember that you can actually go ahead, and let me pull up this other example here. You can go ahead and select that as the group. So maybe I want, let's go to discounts here. We're going to create discount code. Maybe I only want this to apply to my customers who are active subscribers. and have 4+ orders, or let's just say 4 orders or more. So now this offer is only going to work for people who have 4 or more orders with the store. Or if you want to get very specific and you want to create, I don't know, maybe it's a one-off issue that you had with a customer, you want to give them a special code, you can do the same thing here and just add a particular customer. Last is usage limits. So you can say, I want to limit this to only being used 25 times in total. So first 25 customers who use it, they get it, that's it. Alternatively, you can say, I want to limit this to 1 use per customer, which is what you see here underneath the usage limits. And you can also set a start date and an end date. So if I want to schedule it out in advance, I'm going to say this is going to start the 23rd, it's going to end the 28th. Great, you can save that discount code, and now it'll be 20% off all products from February 23rd to 28th, only 1 use per customer. And I could say, okay, it's only going to be good for this particular person. Now, let's look at fixed amount. So for this one, it's more of the same. As opposed to percentage though, it's just a fixed amount. So you have all the exact same options. It's just taking a dollar amount off instead of a percentage off. Nothing else is different here. The only difference is for recurring payments for subscriptions, when you choose this multiple option at the top here for both or subscription, you can say this is only for the first payment. This is only for payments 2 and 3, or you can say this is for every payment. So what that looks like is if it's limiting the discount to only the first payment, it's only good for first-time subscription orders. If you limit it to multiple recurring payments, I could say, okay, this is good for the first 3 orders, or this is good for the first 2. And then the last option is all of them. So let's say I want $20 off to apply to every subscription order forever for that customer. When they use this code, that'll go ahead and take effect. Now, this one is free shipping. Free shipping, you can choose which country. And again, purchase rates, you can also exclude shipping rates over a certain amount. So let's say somebody's shipping is going to be more than $25. Maybe we don't want to offer them free shipping. And then everything else is still the exact same as the other ones. Now, the buy X get Y is where things get a little bit different. You can choose a minimum quantity of items or a minimum purchase amount. And then you also can say what are the products or collections that the customer needs to buy from in order to get something. So let's say I need somebody to purchase, I want to do a BOGO. That'll be the easiest example. BOGO out of the sachet collection. So if you buy 1 item from the sachet collection, you are going to get 1, and we'll choose a product here. You're going to get 1 of these products for free. So if you buy something from the sachet collection, you'll get this item for free. We could say if you buy 5 things from the sachet collection, you get this item for free. Or we could even say you get 3 of them. You buy 2, you get 3. And then you can also do percentages. So you can do buy 1, get 1 50% off as well. Now, the only issue that we have with these is that you need to manually add each product to the cart. So it's not like it happens automatically. If I want to do, oh, you can buy 1, get 1 for free, the customer experience isn't the best because you have to go to the sachet select collection, add a product, and then you got to navigate to this product page and also add it to your cart. It's not like it's going to do it automatically. Now, we will typically work around that with Rebuy. So Rebuy is a app on Shopify that has a bunch of tools, but for the purposes of this, we're going to focus on their smart cart functionality. Now, on Amora right now, we are running spend $35 or more and get a free scoop in your order. So if I go ahead and add more than $35 to my cart, automatically free gift, silver-plated coffee scoop. A much better experience for the customer than having to go to the actual product page, add it to the cart in order for the code to register. So in this use case, we'll typically go ahead and utilize a third-party tool and not actually use the native Shopify functionality. Now let's hop into apps. This is going to be where you spend most of your time in Shopify. This is the hub where all of your third-party tools integrate and connect with your e-commerce storefront. This is frankly the most powerful aspect of Shopify, is the ability to get up and running very quickly with net new marketing tools that work within this ecosystem. But be careful, you don't want to add too many apps. 40 is even pushing it. 20 to 30 is usually in the healthier range. And if you can, you're looking at like 10 to 12 as the ideal scenario. The big reason for that is more apps equals slower site for the most part. A lot of these apps will carry heavy JavaScript loads with them, though it has gotten better with Shopify 2.0, and they will slow down your site. So if you ever install an app and uninstall it, make sure it automatically uninstalls itself from your theme code. Otherwise, you could have apps that you've deleted that you're no longer using that are slowing down your site and reducing performance. The only other thing to call out in this app section is if you want to find more apps, you can click on Customize Your Store. It'll take you to the Shopify app marketplace, and then you can look for different tools that may be useful for you. So let's say I want to do, I don't know, a QR code. There's a QR tool that'll work within Shopify. Or if I want to do upsells, there's 1,000 upsell apps that work with Shopify that you can utilize. And then if you click on any of the apps, you can go ahead and see there's sometimes an explainer video, there's examples, there's reviews, there's pricing, and this will go ahead and let you understand whether or not this tool may or may not work for you. Now that we've covered all the top left navigation items, let's dive into everything underneath sales channels here. We'll start with themes. Themes is where you're going to manage your store. Depending on your setup, you will either buy a theme off the Shopify website, install it, and manage it yourself. Alternatively, you might have a development agency who builds in GitHub and pushes the code to Shopify from their GitHub repository. Neither of the two are either better or worse. It really just depends on the stage of your business. Is typically where you decide whether or not you want to go with a custom build or if you want to use Shopify. Now, if you go ahead and actions, this is where you can edit code, duplicate the theme, you can view it, you can edit languages. We don't typically utilize this at all because we're building in GitHub. And so the automatic integration just allows us to push code from there. If I want to go in and customize the store as a marketer, that's where I'll go ahead and click Customize. And then I'm brought to this drag and drop interface where I can see all these different modules on the left-hand side here. And I can go ahead and add a section if I want to the site, or I can turn one off. So if I toggle this off, it'll remove it from the site. Now, I'm not actually going to do any of this because it would mess up the website, but this is Shopify's drag and drop editor that you can utilize. All of your themes are going to come with various sections. You can see here that we've built out a bunch of custom sections that can be utilized on any page. Most of your themes will have a standard set, and then you can always develop on top of it if you want to. This is how you'll build your homepage, your product page, your collection page, everything that goes on your website, unless you're using a development team. It'll give you an online speed score. We don't pay attention to the speed score at all. It's never high. We'll typically use GT metrics, page speed from Google, and other tools that allow us to get an understanding of where we can improve the site performance. And then your theme library is where all of your old themes will live. So if you ever need to revert to an older theme. Next is blog posts. So here's where we can see all of the blog posts that are live on the site, as well as any comments that require moderation. If you want to post a blog, you can go ahead and add a blog post, put in your title, add a featured image, make an excerpt, which will appear on the blog listing page, and then also your search engine listing preview. And then what this will look like is on the website, it will just automatically go into your blog. So you can see what is Robusta coffee here, and then the comment section. So you simply just drop it into Shopify CMS here, and it'll show up on site. The only other thing to note here is that you can have multiple blogs. So if I click on Manage Blogs, you can see we just have one. It's called The Bean. But if I ever wanted to have multiple, we call it the T, then that's where you go ahead and add it. And if you have separate blog templates for each one, you can choose which theme template to associate it with. Next, we'll go into pages. More of the same here. So any page that you have, you can go ahead and add code or copy to it. And then you just go ahead and publish it out, and it'll show up on the site. So there's not a whole lot here other than for both products, pages, blog posts, and collections, you're always going to see this theme template here. And this is where if you have a custom template built by your developer, or you went ahead and built a custom template in the drag and drop editor in the customizer, you can go ahead and select, okay, for the seasonal selection page, I need it to work with this template because this template has the type of content that is needed for this page. So that way, not all of your pages have to look the same, and use the default page template. Next is navigation. So this is where you'll go ahead and actually add what is going to show up on the website when you hover over the navigation. So for example, you can see we have a very robust shop menu here. And if I were to go ahead and pull up the shop menu, you'll see coffee, roast, and type. If I go over here, you'll see coffee, roast, and type. So this directly relates to what you're putting in the back end of Shopify. So roast, light, medium, dark, espresso. If I click over here, roast, light, medium, dark, espresso. These are parent sort of navigation menus. So you can do these subsections. You can go 3 layers deep. You can't go underneath the light, but you can go 1, 2, and 3. This just allows for nice navigation and an easier customer experience. And you can see there's a bunch of other navigation menus. So we have a different one for mobile, we have a different subscriptions menu, and we can do filters as well. So this allows you to essentially filter your collection pages. So if I were to go to espresso, I can filter by roast, I can filter by whether it's caffeinated or not, I can filter by the type, maybe I only want to see flavored that's caffeinated, and then this will pull in all the products that match these particular attributes. Next, we'll go ahead into domains. This is pretty straightforward. You have a primary domain, your Shopify managed domain, which is always that myshopify.com URL, and then you have any third-party domains that you're connected with as well. Last but not least in this section is preferences. So this is where you'll set your homepage title and meta description, as well as your social sharing image. So if I were to share this on Facebook, it's going to show the Amora logo. This is where you'll also connect your Google Analytics account. You just add the UA here, and then you select Use Enhanced E-commerce, which allows you to get product and like revenue data into Google Analytics. If you want, you can connect your Facebook pixel with the Facebook app. We find this way to be pretty buggy, so typically we're manually installing the Facebook app. Also, customer privacy, whether you need to follow GDPR or CCPA guidelines. If you're ever not launched yet and you want to have a password for your store, go ahead and enable the password protection section here. And then also you can choose whether or not you want to use Google reCAPTCHA on contact and comment forms, as well as the login, create account, and password recovery pages. That is essentially it in terms of the core Shopify functionality. You typically will have sales channels, other sales channels under here as well. So things like a buy button. A buy button essentially allows you to create a piece of code that you can put into a non-Shopify website. Let's say you have like a WordPress blog and you want to make it shoppable. You can create a buy button and embed that into your WordPress blog post. And then if somebody clicks on it, it's going to take them to the Shopify experience, add the product to cart, and allow them to go ahead and check out. Now, the absolute last thing that you need to know about the portal is settings. Typically, you won't need to be in here very often, but this is where you set up the framework of everything. So you have your basic information, your address, contact info, and then your plan. What is your plan with Shopify? In this case, it's going to be Shopify Plus. Your users and permissioning access. So this is where you'll say, oh, I want to go ahead and invite more people that are staff or collaborators like other agencies. You'll also go ahead and decide which payments you want to allow on your store. So on this store, we're using Shopify payments as well as Amazon Pay. But we're able to choose alternative payment methods, or we can add manual payment methods as well. For the most part, we're using Shopify payments for all of our merchants, as it has the most payment gateway options as opposed to like Apple Pay, Google Pay, Facebook Pay, Shop Pay, which is a huge benefit as well. So all of that lives within here. Next, you have checkout styling options. So you can customize your checkout by uploading your store logo, changing colors and fonts, anything like that. You can also choose whether customer accounts are required, optional, or disabled at checkout, as well as whether they can check out using either their phone number or email, or if they can only check out using their email. And then just some basic form options. So full name, do we require last name only or first and last? Company name, we make this optional here. Address line 2, shipping address, phone number. Use also a tipping component, so if you want to allow customers to tip. Order processing, so use the shipping address as the billing address by default. We have that checked off. We also have iAddress auto completion on. And then we can say, after an order's been paid, only automatically fulfill the gift cards of the order. Leave everything else as is, but if we want to, we could have everything be fulfilled right away. For email marketing and SMS marketing, this is where you can pass that marketing consent. So we have both email marketing and SMS marketing consent getting passed through at checkout. We have abandoned checkout emails turned off because we use Klaviyo for this account. For the post-purchase page, we can choose which app is prioritized for that. The reason why we have rebuy selected here is because we have a post-purchase checkout upsell that shows immediately. So right after you check out, there's a page that pops up that says, add this product to your order, to your existing order, for 30% off for a limited time only. And then you can also add additional scripts and tracking to your post-purchase page, to your order status page, and you can manage your checkout language in here as well. Next, we're going to dive into the shipping and delivery section of Shopify settings. So this is your delivery methods for checkout. This is where you'll set your shipping rates. So if I want to go ahead and manage rates here, you can select which products go into here, as well as where you're shipping from and what the rates are. So we have $5.95 shipping from 0 to 30, $8.95 shipping from 30 to $59.99, and free shipping $60 and up. And we are only doing domestic United States here. We could create shipping zones for other countries if we shipped outside of the country, but for this particular client, we only ship in the United States. Now you can do custom shipping rates as well. So you can see here for cold brew, we have a custom shipping rate. So we've added this product here, and we're saying we're only charging $2.95 for shipping. If it's under $5, if it's $5 or more, it's free for this particular product. So you can do custom shipping rates based off of products in order to help manage that. There's also a ton of shipping apps that allow you to extend the functionality of Shopify's shipping tool because it's not super robust. This is also where you'll have shipping labels too if you are manually fulfilling. Almost all of our partners will use 3PLs though and have them handle fulfillment. And this is also where you can add a carrier account or custom order fulfillment tool. Next is taxes. So you see this here, you're using an external tax service. That's because we're using Avalara for this brand. Basically, any Shopify Plus client will be utilizing Avalara for their taxes because it is the primary integration for tax and Shopify Plus. Now, if you're not on Shopify Plus, you'll have to manage your tax regions manually in here. So for the United States, we can say, all right, here's our sales tax IDs in these different states. These are the tax overrides that we want to set, and also where we're collecting sales tax. So we're collecting sales tax in 12 states in the US. You can also manage your tax calculation. So are all prices include tax, include or exclude tax based on your customer's country, charge tax on shipping rates, and charge VAT on digital goods. You can see here we're connected to Avalara, so we don't utilize any of these functionalities. Next is locations. This is typically just where you stock your inventory. So if you have a 3PL partner, it'll just be the 3PL. If you had multiple warehouses, you could put them all in here. In this case, we only have one. Next is gift cards. We don't typically utilize this feature, but this allows you to set whether your gift cards expire or never expire. And then also if your customers can have it show up in their Apple Wallet. This Shopify Markets is a new tool that is not available yet, but is in beta. And essentially, after going through the demo with them, it's going to allow you to sell worldwide from a single Shopify store. So it's not a replacement yet for a completely net new Shopify instance, like a amora.com.uk, but it is going to allow merchants to have a broader reach internationally. Next is sales channels. So this is where you can see your sales channels and also add more if you want. And if I click on manage sales channels here, you can also visit the Shopify App Store again, which has additional sales channels. Next is domains, which we've already covered previously. Notifications. This is your order confirmation, order invoice, out for delivery, delivered. You can see all these are unchecked because typically we're using Malomo and all transactional emails come out of Klaviyo instead. There's a couple of reasons for that, which I'll save for another time. But for the most part, it's just a better customer experience, drives a lot more revenue, and you're able to personalize the transactional communications based off of the data that you have on a customer in Klaviyo. Whereas this, order confirm, same for everybody no matter what if you're using the standard Shopify one. This next tab is meta fields. So this particular store is on regular Shopify, like Shopify 1.0 before Shopify 2.0. But this is where you can add product meta fields and definitions. And this allows you to extend the data on your store. So one example would be, okay, for each product, we have a meta field that shows, let's say a meta field that shows the dollar amount per fluid ounce. This would be somewhere you could add in that meta field, and that would map to every product. This next tab is files. If you ever want to host files on Shopify, whether it's like a PDF or if you're adding an image, it's automatically going to get loaded in here. Languages. So the theme language is in English. You can add translated languages if you want. And then your policies. So this is the absolute last thing in the Shopify dashboard is policies. So refund policy, privacy policy, terms of service, and your shipping policy all live within here. That is essentially the Shopify dashboard in a nutshell. You got your home, gives you an overview of everything. Orders, shows you your orders. Products, it's all the products on your storefront. Customers, all the customers, as well as people that have created an account but have not purchased yet for your Shopify store. Finances, money coming in, money going out. Analytics, diving into your sales volume, sales by SKU, basically any data that Shopify has, visualizations that you can do month over month, period over period, comparisons, and start to dive into your store's performance. The marketing tab, which we typically don't use because we aren't building campaigns within Shopify, we're building them within the platform itself, whether it's a Facebook or email marketing tool. Next is discounts, so percentage off, dollar off, buy something, get something, and free shipping. All of that is built within here. Apps, that's where all of your third-party tools are going to connect and integrate with Shopify. And then your sales channels. So underneath online store, you have a bunch of options that you need to be able to be familiar with for editing, whether it's changing your theme, adding in blog posts, adding in new pages, changing the navigation, or updating your preferences. That all lives within here. And your other sales channels you'll see here as well. And last but not least, settings, which we just covered, which basically lays out all the basics and framework of your Shopify storefront. That is it. As always, don't hesitate to reach out. You can leave a comment below and I'll get back to you. Alternatively, you can find us at electriqmarketing.com. That's Electriq with a Q at the end of Electriq. Or you can follow me on LinkedIn, whatever's easiest for you. I hope everybody found this video useful and best of luck with creating your Shopify stores.